Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Renaissance and the GameScape Artist, and today we are starting a brand new commissioned piece for a fantastic YouTube producer. Most of you will surely know him by his channel NES Complex, but in the small chance that you don't, go and check out this channel right now and subscribe. You will not be disappointed. He's been creating great content for several years, everything from Nintendo Power reviews, his series Is It Fun?, game retrospectives, and even videos touching on pop culture from the 80s. Really well done, really fun. Go check him out. So the piece that he has ordered is interesting because it's not from a screenshot or gameplay per se, rather from a very memorable illustration from the manual to the original Legend of Zelda. And this is the shot here. However, when we were discussing the piece, he suggested an interesting idea of creating like a composite shot, which would mix in a more modern element to it. Which would mean to use this shot from artwork of Breath of the Wild. So basically to have Link sort of scaling this cliff on the right hand side while he's overlooking the landscape of the original Legend of Zelda. And I thought that idea was really cool. So that is what we are about to create. So let's take a look and see what the plan is. Okay, so as you see, I've put in a little bit of sketch here. First, actually, I should mention, I'm using a wood panel for this piece instead of a regular canvas. One, is just kind of a sturdier thing to work on. Two, I really feel like the colors pop a little bit more on these, which is really cool. And again, for shipping, you know, I just feel better about sending something not as delicate as a canvas. So there's that. Okay, so back to the sketch. So I put in a basic sketch. You see that this is where the mountain range is going to be. Got the cliff over here and the lands. And you might ask yourself why I do this, because I'm just going to paint over all of this when I start the sky and everything. I just want to make sure everything is in proportion and where it should be. And it looks pretty good to me, so what I'm actually going to do is mark sort of on the tops and the sides of the canvas, kind of like major markers, like the top of the mountain here, the range, the lands, just so later I can reference it and then it'll be where I wanted it to be in the first place. So that's the only reason I do that. So what we're going to do first, we're going to put in the sky, going to put in that nice ominous kind of red, yellow blending, and after that we'll do the lands, blocking in the mountains, and then just start detailing things out. So let's start with that. Okay, now that we've got one coat of paint down for the sky, I'm just going to go in and start forming these shapes of this sort of ominous kind of clouds coming down into the mountain range. I'm going to use some yellow and some red, kind of start out with just kind of an orange, and then I'll go into the center here and sort of intensify more of that yellow kind of emanating out. So that's next. Okay, so as you can see, I've put in this brighter yellowish whitish color in the sky, and what I want to do now is, because it's very kind of streaky and liney, so I'm going to go through and sort of blend together, as I've started to kind of do up here, blend together the colors, give more texture to kind of the clouds areas. I'll do that first with the yellow, and then I'll go back in after two and do it with the red also to kind of bring them all together, so they said they just blend together better. Okay, now that we've got the sky pretty much done, I'm sure I'll still go back and highlight and throw in some more contrasts here and there, but basically it's where it needs to be. We're going to now block in the mountain range. So as I said before, if you can see this, I made a little mark right here. That is going to be the top of the biggest mountain in the middle, so I'll know where it is. Just right around there, right around here, and on the sides the mark is right around there too. So this is pretty much where the top of the mountain should be going. So I'm just going to start drawing this in now. Okay, so I've added in a bunch of detail into the mountains here. I'm not done with them yet. I'll come back to them, but for now what I'm going to do is just bring this down, kind of block in the foothill area, down through the land, and all the way down through the forest as well. Okay, so now that I've been working a bit more on the details of the mountains here and bringing them down, I want to figure out where exactly to put in this snaking river down here, because that's going to kind of affect everything else's placement. So let's do that next. Okay folks, well I think that's going to do it for this episode. Look out for the second half of this where I will actually be finishing this piece. Should be fairly soon. As always, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, clicking on that bell so you can get all the notifications. You can follow along with all the progress that I make with all these paintings. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next episode.